So I've been watching our country burn the last couple days. And now I'm flipping through social media and I am seeing people that I grew up with in suburban Chicago post the Black Lives Matter blackout social media posts. And then I go and I see their other commentary and they say, war on police, the police are racist. Completely false, by the way. No data, no statistics. And you, like me, where I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, have been protected by police our entire life. If you heard a creak in the attic, you would call the police in an instant to try to help you. And people say, well, the police are killing unarmed black men at record rates. This is a lie, even according to the Washington Post, with a very questionable definition of unarmed black man. 8 unarmed black men died by police officers last year. 8. Do you know how many police officers were killed in the line of duty last year? Well over 50. Do you know that black men account for 6% of the U.S. population, yet account for 42% of all police deaths? So there 42% of all cop killers are black men, despite them being only 6% of the U.S. population. But people say, well, Charlie, don't you know there's a systemic racism in our country? Stop it. Stop this lie that we're nothing more than the group identity that the media tells us that we are. You're an individual. You can wake up earlier. You can make better choices. You can succeed. Don't subscribe to this leftist nonsense that is captivating and hypnotizing our country. People say, well, the rioters and the looters and the protesters, they have a good cause. There's never a good cause to burn down our country. There's never a good cause to destroy black businesses. And guess what? All you virtue signaling suburban followers and sycophants that I grew up with. I know you and I see you. And you're virtue signaling to the world about how good of a person that you are. Oh, I'm a good person. Look at me. I'm such a good person because I'm posting Black Lives Matter despite none of the data statistics backing up anything that you're saying. Was George Floyd wrongly killed? Yes. Is it a trend? No. In fact, we saw 4 police officers shot last night that we know of. And if you really cared about black lives, if you really cared about helping black Americans, you would want more police officers in the streets. Because you know what's going to happen right now? You overly privileged individuals that think you actually care about black lives because you post your all black squares on social media. Do you know what's going to happen? The Ferguson effect is going to happen. Heather McDonald talks about this brilliantly. The police are going to withdraw from these communities. Crime rates are going to go up and more black people are going to die because of your social justice virtue signaling protesting, trying because I want to make the world a better place. Don't you understand that this is a epidemic? This is the worst. It's not. Do you know what the epidemic is? Police officers being gunned down in the streets. Fact. A police officer is 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black person than an unarmed black person is to be killed by the police. But that doesn't fit your narrative, does it? The narrative is to try to divide our country. The narrative is to try to turn people against each other. The narrative is to try to get people that grew up in upper middle class incomes to feel wrong because they exist. And if I hear one more person say, well, Charlie, you're white, you can't comment on this. If you're a human being, you can comment on this. Data, statistics, these things transcend skin color. It doesn't matter if you're black, if you're Hispanic, or you're Asian. These numbers don't change based on who's talking about them. I care about all Americans. All lives matter. This is a ploy to divide our country. My real complaint is for the people that have benefited from police protection their entire life, that sit in their suburban communities, pristine and protected from all crime, are now the ones that are putting their hands up and saying, we're right with you, war on police. You wouldn't last a nanosecond if the police withdrew from your community. Support facts, support data, support our country, and support our police. You're not a good person just because you tell the world that you are a good person.